Hello, my name is Shivani, and this is the Curly Bookworm. Welcome back to me because, well, I haven't been around, and because of that, you haven't been around, or maybe you have, or maybe you're not there at all. Maybe you've left altogether. Who knows? But welcome back. Okay, um, why have I not been around? Where have I been? What have I been up to? There is no story to tell here. I was busy with work, life caught up, it was a new job, blah blah blah, and I didn't have the time to read. I did read, but I didn't have the time to read and then also come here and make videos. Like there was just no time. Okay, that's the summary of everything. So what I'm gonna do, since I've been away for more than just 2020, is I'm gonna make a couple of videos to begin with where I will tell you all of the good stuff that I've read in the last few years. This video is going to be in a few parts simply because it's going to be a long one and let's give you a break, let's give me a break. So yeah, let's start. So the first book that I want to talk about is this one. This one is called Pachinko. This one is by an author called Min-Jin Lee. I think it's her debut novel, and she's just blown everybody's socks away. I think I rated this book, I think I want to say 4.5. And the only reason why I didn't give it a 5 is because the last 100 pages of the book were, I don't even know how to say it. It was just tiring and it was just unnecessary. But it's a really good book, okay? It's written really well and it is set in the early 1900s, so it's a historical fiction book. It is a family saga, a generational family saga, which is, I love those settings. Like I love seeing what happens from one generation to another. I love what goes on in their lives and how they become better or worse people. Like those are always some of the best books for me, and some of the best narratives, especially if they're character led, which this book absolutely is. Like it takes you from person to person and their whole lifetime, and it's really good. Anyway, the premise of the book, however, is about this girl called Sunja. It's set in this little town in Korea, a seaside town, where Sunja and her mother run a boarding house, and they are fairly hand-to-mouth. They're not very well-to-do. There is a priest that is passing through. He's come from Japan. He's Korean, but he lives in Japan, and he's kind of passing through, and he lives in the boarding house. And in this boarding house, he kind of ends up falling sick, and they sort of nurse him back to health, the mother and the daughter. And he feels profoundly grateful, so he wants to sort of marry Sunja and take her with him, except that she basically tells him that, hey, listen, I can't let you do that because I'm pregnant. And he says, that's okay, I will take care of your child, just come with me. And so that's what happens. So she actually ends up moving to Japan, and she ends up having to learn a new language, new ways of living, making life work there with a sickly husband and a child that everyone believes is his. It's a beautiful story. It's a lovely book, and I really suggest that you pick this one up. So the next book that I want to talk about is this one. This is called Circe by Madeline Miller. I have read another book by this author. This author has written 2 books, if I'm not wrong, and I'm a fan of her writing. I love it. I love the world building, I love the settings, I love the topics she chooses. Man, she's amazing. She's definitely becoming one of my favorite authors. She takes these stories that are perhaps well known, perhaps not. Like this one's not super well known, but the other one is set on Troy, Achilles, etc. So I'll tell you about that too soon, because it's definitely one of my favorites. But in this one, it picks up the topic of Circe, who is like a not very well-known daughter of the sun god, in the Greek sun god. This is basically about her life, where she is pretty lonely. She's unloved. Nobody gives a shit about her and her family. Her aunts, her mother. Her mother is gorgeous, and so is her sister. Her father, who is the sun god, is also really beautiful and strong and powerful and all of these things. And she is not much. Like she's not powerful, she's not beautiful, she's not any of those things. So she is basically considered a washout in many ways in her family, and she is extremely lonely. And so because of this loneliness, she ends up doing a couple of stupid things, and she is therefore banished. Her father banishes her to an island called Ayaya. So then she goes to this island and she has this wonderful adventure and this wonderful life. She doesn't see it that way, of course, but to me, the reader, the adventure is quite cool. But like, you know, I was just thinking about it. If you threw me and banished me into an island, what the hell would I do? Like, I would just kill myself. Like, but she doesn't. Cersei is a god, so she can't do anything. Anyway, the point is that she has many adventures on this island. People come and go, and you want to read this book. That's basically the point of what I'm trying to say. This is a lovely book. Please read it and let me know what you think when you read it. The next book that I want to talk about is, it's like a very well-known book. It's called All the Light You Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Listen, it's probably one of the nicest and most beautifully written books that I've read in a few years now, in a couple of years at least. It's just gorgeously written. The words, that it's almost lyrical in that sense, right? It's like the words were handpicked from somewhere and sort of put on this book. Like, it's beautiful. Anyway, so this book is set, like I said, during the World War II period. It is about two kids. It's got Marie-Laure, who is a French girl who is blind, and then you have Werner, who is a kid who is brought up in a small coal mining town in Germany, and he desperately wants to escape the coal mining. He's an orphan, and he lives with his sister Uta in this orphanage. That's what I meant. But anyway, the point is that Werner and Marie-Laure's story is what we're following through the entire book for the most part of it. Marie-Laure, like I said, goes blind very early. I think at the age of 6, 7, maybe somewhere between 7 and 10. I don't remember exactly. And she has this wonderful father. I think that's what like really like set my heart into the book. Like, when I heard that part about her father, I was just like, oh my god, this book is going to be beautiful, isn't it? Parallelly, what happens is that Werner is growing up, like I said, in this orphanage in this small town, and he is brilliant with radios. Like, for some reason, he's great at putting stuff together, making a great radio, etc. So this kid is actually picked up by the soldiers, by the army, and he is taken away there. And so parallelly, we see these two lives sort of at the same time build into the World War. It takes you a while to sort of get through this book because it's really beautiful writing. Sometimes it's painful because of the World War and the setting, but it's a really gorgeous story, and I would definitely recommend that you pick it up either way. This book was a 5 on 5 for me. So the next book that I want to talk about is this one. This is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. This was quite a riot. I read it during New Year's. I think not 2020, but the one before that, before the world basically blew up in flames, which is funny because this is kind of what the book is about too. I'll come to it in a second. Look at this cover, isn't it amazing? Like, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the color combination or whatever, but I really like this book. I simply picked it up because it looked fun and like beautiful. Yeah, shallow much. So this book is about a set of twins that need a nanny to take care of them, and they're a really peculiar set of twins. But let me I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me just move back a little bit. So there is Madison, who is best friends with Lillian. Madison is someone who's just basically turned out to be nothing. Like, her life is crap. She is a good for nothing person. She hates her own life, etc, etc. And Lillian is the wife of this politician, and she's like doing well for herself, and they were really close friends in school. And so one day, Lillian writes to Madison saying, hey, I need your help. Can you please come over and help me? So Madison goes to visit her, and then Lillian tells her, hey, listen, I have these like really peculiar stepchildren that I've inherited from my husband's last marriage. Can you please freaking help me out with them, because I can't handle them. And the funny thing is, the catch rather, is that these kids, when they get really emotional, start catching on fire. I know, so bizarre. Like, why would you not want to read a story that is so weird? I really, really, really like this book. This was one of the best of the year last year, I think. It was just like a really fun roller coaster of a ride. I think like it was just a fun book. It was a 5 on 5 for me just because I found it thoroughly entertaining, because Madison is basically running around thinking, how do I make sure that these two kids don't set the freaking world on fire? You know, this is the next book that I want to talk about. This is called The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. This is an amazing book. Look at the freaking cover, guys. I mean, it's amazing. So I read this book also on audiobook, and then halfway through I was in a bookshop and I saw this one and I said, man, I have to have this book, and I ended up reading the rest as a book and not as an audiobook. It is about Danny and Maeve, who are brother and sister. First of all, any story with siblings just like pulls at my heartstrings and just does like its magic, and I just get sucked into it. So this story, like I said, is about Danny and Maeve. They grew up in the 1900s. I think I want to say like 1960s, 1970s, something like that. This is a story about the Dutch house, which is what they move into. It's like this really modern, beautiful looking house that their father buys, and the mother is I think she leaves. She leaves the father, and the father is really lonely. And then what happens is that he ends up marrying somebody else. And so they end up acquiring a stepmother. The stepmother moves into this house with her 2 children. She's been married before as well, and these kids feel strangulated, they feel suffocated, they don't like this lady. She doesn't like them either, to be honest, and it's a very tense atmosphere in the house. And at one point, the father dies and everybody is heartbroken, everybody, including the stepmother and everybody, but she very cleverly actually ends up keeping the home, and the kids get nothing. They get thrown out of their own house, and they have so many memories in this house. What's great about this book is, of course, the writing. It's the story, it's the character building, it's all of that, but it's also this lovely presence and character of the home, the Dutch house. Basically, there's no extra mystery to it, but there's an aura to this house. There's the house that everybody is in love with. There's a sibling relationship. There's so much in this book that is amazing. This, I think, was a 4.5 on 5 for me, if I'm not wrong. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Please pick it up if you haven't yet. I highly, highly recommend it, and let me know what you think. So I'm going to stop here for today. There are a lot more books that I want to recommend from the last few years that I've read that are amazing. But this is going to be a long enough video itself. So let me know which one of these you've read. If you have, tell me what you thought of them. And if you haven't, then go and read them. I will be back with more videos soon. In the meanwhile, do the usual thing of the subscribing, the liking, the sharing, and all of that jazz. And I will see you soon. Bye bye.